Welcome back to Ozarks Live. We're going out now to Tom for some financial advice.
Tom, let us know what you're learning over there at the Resource Center today.
Well, I'm going to learn something. We've talked about kind of half of the equation. We're going to talk about the other half of the equation. Roy Rickstrew with me, and you can see your disability rep right here at the Resource Center. Good to see you again.
Likewise, Tom. Always a pleasure.
All right, now we've talked about the physical part of, the disability equation. There's another part. It may be totally separate or they may be part and parcel. But the mental health exam, you're going to tell us about this now, what to expect.
Yeah, that's correct. So if you don't have enough records, or if your records leave some aspect of your condition underdeveloped, Social Security will utilize a consultative examination.
Okay.
They'll send you to one of their doctors for an examination. A lot of people encounter these. We did talk about the physical exam before.
Right.
Today we're going to talk specifically about the psychological exam. It's very similar, this slide at least, except that these exams should last 45 minutes. The actual regulations on this say it should be an hour examination. So that's the first thing.
All right.
Should be most all of the examination with the doctor. So you shouldn't be communicating with a nurse or an intake person through the majority of the exam. You should have doctor time where you guys get to visit back and forth.
So the person whose name is on the office, that's the one that you should be talking to.
Well, not necessarily. And remember, we talked talked before about examinations in exotic locations.
That's
so
right.
Even though the doctor may be doing the examination, he may be in a utility company or in a library space or at a hotel, believe it or not.
But you want an MD there.
That's correct.
It.
That's correct.
All right.
So a couple things that they're going to cover in these examinations. They should always look and talk with you about your family history. They have to establish a baseline, if you will. If we're going to compare how you function now to some point in the past, you have to understand the past.
Of course.
They want to talk with you about your current medication, your complaints, what kind of limitations you may have noticed on your own. Again, we're looking for points of comparison from the past to current. And they should do a work review history and some social functioning history. And this kind of surprises people because a lot of times the doctor will ask you about relationship history, how you've done with boyfriends or girlfriends or husbands or wives or parents or neighbors.
Okay.
Because if we're having difficulties with social interaction, there's going to be some point in time that maybe you did better, and that's our point of comparison.
All right.
Or maybe you've struggled your whole life with people.
The other thing here, important info to prep. Written information, or is this you need to be conversant?
No, these are things that you're going to get questioned about when you're in the examination, so you need to put a little bit of thought ahead of time to them.
Okay.
The thing with social interaction, for example, is you may not realize that you're hard to deal with or grumpy, but if you look back through your work history, for example, it may be marred with conflict. You may have been written up many times, you may have been sent home early, there could have been fights or conflicts.
Right.
And as we kind of look back and reflect when we file for disability, we need to think about those markers in our past to kind of reevaluate how we've really done.
You need to be honest about this stuff.
For sure, for sure.
All right.
So
what it should include. Very important.
Right. So we talked before, on the physical side about range of motion and strength testing. You can't really do that with a psychological examination. But the things we're going to look at is memory testing, concentration testing. These type of things are going to be part of the exam. They're not real in depth. For example, Tom, I may give you 3 words to remember and then come back in 5 minutes and see if you know what they are.
Okay.
Our concentration testing, perhaps we give you a series of letters and numbers that are jumbled, and every time you hear the number 7, you tap the table. But you have to pay attention and focus.
Okay.
May have you count backwards by 7s from 100, for example.
Okay.
These are very basic type mental examination criteria that they work with. Social norms and judgment, a lot of times they'll ask you, if you found a wallet on the ground, what would you do with it? If you smelled smoke in the movie theater, what would your response be? They're just kind of checking to see if you're still able to process those things appropriately.
All right. I can understand that. Now, this is always the one you have to get to, when to be alarmed.
Yeah, if you didn't see the doctor, that's a biggie. And I have people call in from time to time that tell me that they never did see an MD, that they talked to an intake worker the whole time. If the exam felt rushed, if you felt like the doctor's not listening to you, they hurry through the exam, that's a big marker.
That should be a marker anytime you're going for an exam. They rush you through it, you got to go, wait a minute.
Yeah, and if the doctor seems like they're frustrated or impatient or didn't listen to you, I had a client call me just last week, said the doctor stared in the laptop the whole time, didn't even look at her. Obviously, it's a big red flag.
Okay. And of course, the last one, I'll even say it. The exam doesn't go the way that Roy says it should because he's had so many years in this field. He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, if the examination looks different than what we've talked about, same with the physical exam, give me a call. You know, if we're able to connect and do business with one another, that's fantastic. If you had the exam and you just want to bounce it off and say, hey, is there really a problem? Give me a ring and we'll chat.
All right, show him the QR code here.
So here we go.
There it is, right there.
We have same-day appointments. You can reach me directly. So in other words, you ring my phone, I answer it at the 417-812-6698, 417-812-6698, or the urdisabilityrep.com will get you to our website. There's tips, tricks, this video, as well as many, many, many others will appear there. If you're trying to start a Social Security disability claim, it's a good place to start.
That's it. And you get to talk to Roy, too. Thanks.
Lastly, we'll be at the fair next week.
That's right. We're going to be at the fair, so come and visit at their place. All right. I'll toss it back to you. Your resource center. It's a great place to talk to people.
All right, Tom, thank you so much. Coming up